In today's news, Labor Minister reveals latest statistics regarding the territory's workforce.
BVI reports 2 new COVID-19 cases by returning travelers, and USVI reports 36 new COVID cases, and USVI Senator Gittens tests positive. All this and more when 284 News returns.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Welcome there, viewers. Today is Tuesday, August 18th, 2020. I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes.
And I'm Ron Grant. Welcome to another very special edition of 284 News out of the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Now, we have a few stuff to get into before we get into today's newscast. Of course, yesterday, the BVI detected two positive cases, bringing the territory's total to 11. To date, the territory has received 18 thankfully recovered cases and 2 active cases, along with 1 COVID-19 related death.
Yes, and Ron, right across the waters, we see where in the USVI has a shocking total of 796 COVID-19 cases recorded up to date. Now, this number includes the 35 new infections as of yesterday, and as we know, COVID-19 does not discriminate and can infect the young, the old, the strong, the meek, the mild. It really doesn't matter your pay grade, who you are. And we see where a senator over in the USVI has actually been infected with the virus.
Along with that, Kyla, Minister responsible for Labor and Immigration, the Honorable Vincent Whitley, he stopped by our studios yesterday to speak with yourself about the labor and immigration issues amidst COVID-19. He cited some statistics which are very important to us, which we're going to get into at some point. But overall, there's a lot going on, not only locally, but regionally and internationally, particularly when it comes to our Caribbean countries where many of our brothers and sisters reside. We want to make sure that we keep persons informed. Most
definitely. But Ron, we have so much to get into, so let's just jump right into it.
Yes, beginning on our newscast, the British Virgin Islands detects 2 new positive cases of COVID-19. Minister for Health and Social Development, the Honorable Carvin Malode, made the announcement last evening that both patients had recently returned to the territory. They were quarantined in accordance with the established health protocols and were tested at the end of their 14-day quarantine period. Now, both persons will remain in isolation, where they will be monitored, administered the necessary treatment as well as services, and thereafter retested by the BVI Health Services Authority until they recovered. Now, Honorable Malone said in a statement, and I quote, "I take this opportunity to extend best wishes to both individuals for a full and rapid recovery. This is another instance," he said, "where our investors in various border control measures are serving the intended purpose of detecting imported cases and contained themselves that limit the possibility of person-to-person community transmission on the various virus in the territory." Now, the Minister of Health also highlighted other protective measures, including the border patrol being conducted by a joint task force comprised of HM Customs, Immigration, and of course the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force to help guard against the illegal entry and condemned persons from attempting to enter illegally, as it could bring harm to the territory of the Virgin Islands. Now, Kyla, we have done very well here in the BVI. The British Virgin Islands epidemiological summary includes a total of 1,890 persons tested, 8 recovered, 1 unfortunate death, and 2 active cases as of present. We would, of course, remember yesterday, myself and Jovan updating the public that there were no active cases, and I want persons to understand, particularly Kyla, this is how fluid COVID-19 is. The latest report coming out of the territory and the Ministry of Health in the British Virgin Islands stated that there were no active cases. The 9th case was recovered, and for a split second, we definitely breathe a sigh of relief. But persons need to understand that at the end of the day, it's a fluid situation, and we continue continue to be on guard and make sure that our family and friends are protected, and making sure that we're all advising and taking protocol as pertains to the Ministry of Health and their protocols that are in place.
Most definitely, Ron. Now, as you just reported, now that our territory have confirmed 2 additional cases,
Yes.
which was imported and now in quarantine, and we see where the government of the Virgin Islands have put measures in place. And Honorable Malone actually, as you quoted him, he spoke about this. They put in place measures to ensure that persons who are now isolated upon arrival
Yes.
into the territory, for the main reason to prevent community spread. Now, Honorable Carvin Malone, now Minister responsible for Health and Social Development, as we know, he expressed the government's concerns over the risk the territory may face by the smuggling of persons into the territory,
Yes.
and the many establishments that are not adhering to the safety protocols that have been put in place. He said, and I quote, "Reports are being received of the possibility of illegal trafficking at our borders. If this is so, my simple advice is to stop. It is dangerous, it is wrong, it could bring harm to the territory." Honorable Malone reminded the residents of the BVI that none of the measures implemented by the government are 100% fail-proof, and it is therefore not possible, to completely eliminate the risk of importation of the virus that caused COVID-19, because as you just spoke about, Ron, literally one day apart, we were just speaking about recovery and being COVID-19 free, and there we see where the importation of 2 cases have reached our shores. And
Yes.
Honorable Malone highlighted in his address, and I quote, "This is why we must remain vigilant, continue to take a precautious approach to social and economic activity, and thoughtfully engage with the world around us out of care and concern for our community." The minister added, and I quote, "I cannot conclude without expressing the government's concerns with the many establishments that are simply not adhering to the safety protocols established for our safety. Concerns are also expressed for the extreme loud noises." And he speak about the motorbikes throughout the territory. And I think, Ron, what we have been seeing
Yes.
as our curfew have completely relaxed and we are not under curfew hours anymore, persons have relaxed. But we hear where Honorable Malone and the concerns of the government is that we may have illegal entry into the territory. So we must continue to be vigilant in our establishments, and us as private citizens just hold this responsibility in general. And the government has instituted penalties, including fines and the closure of businesses for the breaching of COVID-19 protocols. Honorable Malone reminded the BVI of the many jurisdictions, and we know many of them, a list of them, that have opened irresponsibly and are now forced to reverse their decisions as they are now experiencing a drastic spike of the virus.
Carla, quite a bit of information coming out of the Honorable Minister's statements. He mentioned a lot, not only pertaining to COVID-19, but it's very interesting to see the Honorable Minister for Health now stepping into the conversation of scooters. This is a conversation that we've had for a very long time. Persons from all walks of life have spoken up about the noise pollution here in the territory. We even had the police commissioner on our very network stating that these are things that they're working on, but to date there's no real repercussions, there's no real release of the noise pollution. But to carry that into the conversation of COVID-19 is quite interesting, because when we speak of Border Patrol, one of the things that's very important, and I want the BVI public to take this into perspective. Once COVID-19 came into fruition and began affecting the territory of the Virgin Islands, the BVI rather, we saw where the government of the Virgin Islands, they pooled all parties together, meaning HM Customs, the police department, and other sources to kind of come together as one body. And prior to that, we saw where it was quite an issue. prior to COVID-19, and then now that COVID-19 has impacted our territory, we see where there's still a struggle, a tremendous struggle as it pertains to protecting our borders. So it makes one wonder in a certain perspective. First of all, you had particularly just the Border Patrol. Now you have a number of entities coming together and joining forces, and it's still a problem. It's still not able to be controlled. Now, when you speak of border protection and you still have persons sneaking in, like the minister said, when it comes to illegal entry, particularly not on the sister island of Jos Van Dyke, but Virgin Gorda, and we have a lot of neighboring islands.
Right.
It makes you wonder what exactly is taking place as it pertains to border protection and law enforcement. This is a very pivotal time. It's a very tough time for all Virgin Islanders, but one would think that we would have tried to get some instance on the grasp of border protection.
Protection. I do understand, Ron, and I think that, as you said, border protection, even before COVID-19, was an issue for
Yes.
the BVI, as well as the entire Virgin Islands. But I think we see, as you said, different bodies from the USVI and the Virgin Islands, the BVI, coming together to form a unit to make sure and to even tighten border protection even more so. But because of the makeup of our islands, living in an archipelago, St. Thomas and St. John right across the waters, literally a few minutes away, I think it makes it very hard to guard every inch of the border, every inch of the day. And I think this is where we see our ministers more so now pleading with persons, especially local persons, for now that we're in the COVID-19 era, especially to be responsible.
Yeah.
Because we cannot afford, the government has invested much money and much time to ensure that persons are isolated upon their arrival into the territory. But for persons locally to irresponsibly do that, I think that is just really and truly a bit selfish. And I think that is what our government is trying to plead to persons for, because it is all of our responsibility when it comes to the BVI and just keeping COVID under control.
I agree, Carla, when it comes to all of it being responsible and speaking up. Persons all across the Virgin Islands have a right to speak up and lend a listening voice and a conversation to the government's plea for border protection. Now, still ahead, ladies and gentlemen, Caribbean Telecommunications Unit, they are seeking a Secretary General. This is a very important post as it pertains to telecommunications across the region. You want to hear all about it after this. We're watching 284 News.
I think you need to clearly see what happened.
As far as what?
You and I, we decided we were gonna take our space. What happened?
Yeah, and then I got into an entanglement in August. That's what I said.
An entanglement.
Yes. Yes.
An entanglement.
Yes.
A little entanglement never hurt nobody. For the month of August, enjoy double the fun when you activate a 2 GB data plan or any hero plan and get double data. But wait, man, we're making things even sweeter. We've got a deal even Jada can't resist. Sign up for Go Fast LTE and get your modem for only $149. The catch is, there's no contract required, but you'll definitely need the willpower to leave. So come get entangled with August. In August with the home team.
34 years and counting.
We ride together.
We die together. CCT for life.
Viewers, welcome back. You're watching 284 News. Now, the Caribbean Telecommunications Union they're seeking a Secretary General. Now, Kyla, this is a very important post across the region. Qualified and interested Virgin Islanders are invited to apply for the post of Secretary General of the Caribbean Telecommunications Unit, CTU. Now, Permanent Secretary in the Premier's Office, Dr. Carolyn O'Neill Morton, said the British Virgin Islands has been a member of the organization for more than 20 years, and that the government of the Virgin Islands is alerting the public of the opportunity, which is quite an interesting and very important opportunity. The vacancy is being advertised in other member states of the CTU. The successful applicant will head the secretariat in Port of Spain as well as Trinidad Trinidad and Tobago, and is expected to provide strong, visionary, strategic leadership to engage the organization to fulfill its mandate of fostering information, communications, and technology-enabled development in the 21st century. Now, CTU's work is based on a multi-stakeholder engagement of the public and private sectors and civil society participation to enhance, of course, the economic, social, and cultural well-being of the people of the region through effective use of ITC. Now, Dr. Morton further stated the government of the Virgin Islands continues to benefit from the partnership of CTU. We have been able to collaborate with the CTU just recently, she said, on the development of the National Information Communications Technology ITC policy and implementation, of course, of their plan. The Permanent Secretary added that the representative from the government of the Virgin Islands and Telecommunications Regulatory Commission attended meetings and, of course, contributed to the discussion and decisions of the CTU. Now, persons who are interested in applying can visit the CTU's website at ctu.int and download, of course, the application for the brief position of Secretary General and the application form. Now, the closing date, viewers, be sure to note that that is of August 21st at 4 p.m. That's the deadline for your submissions, and the CTU is a Caribbean in-governmental organization. Now, that's indicated to facilitating the development of the regional telecommunications sector. It was established, of course, in 1989 by the treaty. Kyla, telecommunications is something that we have been speaking about for a very long time. Persons from all walks of life have lended the conversation. Here we have a very interesting opportunity, however, where a Virgin Islander who is gainfully skilled in that field can now apply for the Secretary General position. I think it's one that is very important, as we've always spoke of telecommunications and internet services on varying platforms being of huge concern to persons in the BVI. This is a great opportunity.
Must say that itself. But as we move on now, Ron, yesterday, August 17th, the Minister of Natural Resources, Labor and Immigration, Honorable Vincent Wheatley, joined us in studio to catch up on labor and immigration in the BVI amidst COVID-19. If you haven't caught that interview, you can catch that on our website to hear all about it. But Ron, during the interview, Minister Wheatley gave updates on current statistics regarding the job force here, the workforce, here in the British Virgin Islands. The statistics Honorable Wheatley cited were, as of the beginning of August. So viewers, let's take a look of the minister citing all the statistics. Let's take a look. Honorable Minister, so much is going on in our nature's little secret. But before we dive into all that is happening, I like to deal with statistics and numbers, because when you hear the statistics behind of everything, you kind of have a better understanding of what is truly going on. So that is the starting point. This is where we will start. So I want to know, to date, how many persons are currently registered with the Department of Labor and Workforce Development as unemployed or terminated?
Well, just like you, I'm also very much data-driven. I like making decisions based on facts, not emotion. So I do have some facts here for you. But just bear in mind, the situation is very fluid. So this information isn't as of today. Right. It would be like 2 weeks old.
Okay.
We get our data like every 2 weeks or so. So it's a very, very fluid situation.
Right.
Let's start with the businesses. Right now we have on our books 942 operational businesses.
Okay.
Non-operational, 171. Total, 1,113 businesses operating in the BVI right now.
Okay.
Tortola, 972. Virgin Gorda, 94. Jos Van Dyke, 24. Anegada, 13. The other islands, 10.
Okay.
The employment status of employees, those retained, 8,962. Released, 294. Laid off, 1,263. Others not quite specified, 175. That brings a total to 10,694 persons in the workforce right now. Of those persons registered, 6,186 are work permit holders.
Okay.
6,186.
Okay.
BVI landers or belongers, 3,161. 3,161. Work permit exempted holders, 926.
Okay.
Those that properly categorized, 421. Total work permits as of 17th August stands at 8,053. Pending processing due to lack of documents of all laid off status,
Okay.
789. This data is of August 31st, 2020.
Now, Ron, Minister Wheatley gave us a chunk of numbers there to calculate, but when we really take some time to really understand what these statistics mean for the British Virgin Islands, let's take a time to kind of dissect this. Now, Minister Wheatley said that on their books, 942 out of 1,113 businesses are currently functional in the entire BVI. So that makes up all the islands here in the BVI. Now, only leaving 171 businesses non-operational. So therefore, if my maths is correct, 85% of these businesses in the BVI are currently operational. So of course, these statistics are based on what the Department of Labor and Workforce Development has recorded. And as the minister continues to say, it is a very fluid situation.
Agreed.
But Ron, we can clearly see where the reopening of our economy internally have had some benefits. Many businesses have been able to reopen their doors and serve at least local customers, and that is definitely a start. And of course, these numbers were even before the curfew was lifted, so it would be good to see the numbers even after that, to see how businesses may benefit or may not benefit by the curfew being lifted. But now, a few months ago, if you remember, Minister Wheatley provided an update to the House of Assembly regarding the number of persons that were laid off and terminated. He said in his address, and I quote, as of the 22nd of May, 77 of those businesses have reported temporarily closed, while 260 remain operational. Of the businesses submitting information, a total of 767 persons have been reported as laid off, and 165 persons have been reported as terminated. And these numbers is as of the 22nd of May. Now, let's fast forward to August. The number of persons terminated have now increased to 294 persons in comparison to the 165 that was reported on the 22nd of May. And the number of persons laid off has also increased from 767 to 1,263 persons. But Ron, a few things to take into consideration.
Yes.
Before, of course, the Department of Labor and Workforce Development was working with limited information. As we remember back then, they were asking for businesses to submit their information. And as we can see by the minister's statement, that at that time, they were only reporting on 332 businesses which submitted information by that time. Now, the Department of Labor and Workforce Development have a bigger and a clearer picture of what the workforce looks like during this time. So that is why we might see some sort of increase. But it is still quite unfortunate that even now, so many persons are laid off in our territory. It's very alarming, Ron. And as we know, the government, in its first phase of the economic stimulus, made provisions to give relief to persons who were unemployed or underemployed due to COVID-19. And that program only lasted for 3 months ending in July. So during the interview, the minister was asked by myself if the government has any intentions to sustaining the unemployment relief program or have any plans to assist persons who are still unemployed after this 3-month period. And viewers, take a look at what the minister had to say.
Once we finish this first phase of the unemployed and underemployed, we're going to do an assessment of it. And at that time, I'm going to do my report, which hopefully I get a report done by end of this week here. I'll present the report to the Premier. We'll have a discussion with the Cabinet, and we'll at that point make a decision. I really cannot say right now, because we're not making the money we used to make.
Right.
Naturally, our income is down. So there's like a big pool of money we could just draw in and just give out money all the time.
Right.
We have to be very cautious with how we spend the little funds that we have. But the Premier, through initiatives, we are bringing projects online to help with the unemployment project. You saw the Joseph project, we're building 43 units. That's employment. We signed the Blunder Bay Development Agreement. That is going to be employment. We have Bitteren opening soon. That's employment. In Virgin Islands, YCCS, that's employment. Other stuff happening on Tortola, that's employment. There are more agreements coming on stream. So we are working feverishly trying to create not only more employment, but also new industries. If you've been following along with the things we're passing in the Cabinet, we passed like 15 pieces in July alone.
Yes.
We are creating new industries to make sure that employment opportunities exist for everyone.
Yes, so viewers, that was the minister speaking to some of the initiatives that the government is putting in place to kind of curb the unemployment issue here in the territory amidst COVID-19. But unfortunately, Ron,
yes,
COVID-19 is not going anywhere
it's gonna be around
anytime soon. But we see where the government is making effort, but also the private sector is finding creative ways to keep our economy afloat. But yeah, it will be a long road.
And creative ways definitely to keep our economy afloat is definitely what it's going to take. Again, we don't have to look too far, Kyla, as we look at the Caribbean model of many of our sister islands across the region. Just being creative, we look at Barbados, governed by the one and only Miss Mia Motley, and we look at different Caribbean islands just coming up with creative ways. It does not mean that it's all going to work for us. We have to be strategic in what works for us individually, but I do think that together we can pull together. And of course, it's awesome to hear the Honorable Minister for Labor coming to the forefront and speaking about the pertinent issues. Of course, that was a very detailed interview by yourself and him, and I think we got a lot of information, particularly statistics. What's important, I think, as we progress and we continue to put legislations in place and we continue to manage COVID-19 is to present statistics. We need our government leaders to present statistics, so it does not seem as though decisions are being made haphazardly. Just show us some facts. Let's see what's taking place and what is becoming in the deciding factor of these decisions. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're following a story over in the U.S. Virgin Islands where 36 new COVID-19 cases, and of course, one of those cases are Senator Kenneth Gittens. He tested positive. All this and more when 284 News returns.
Brilliant Hands and Minds tutoring services, one-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands High School Certificate Program, Brilliant Hands and Minds can help you too. Offering intense curriculum-based training to help you or your loved ones get their high school diploma. It's time to make your family's education a #1 priority. Hurry, space is limited. Brilliant Hands and Minds Learning Center. We are the trained education professionals.
Viewers, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Now, closing off on our newscast, we're of course following the situation over in the U.S. Virgin Islands, where the VI Consortium has reported that the VI Department of Health reported 36 new cases of the novel coronavirus on Monday night. Now, with 26 of those cases being confirmed on St. Thomas, while St. Croix accounted for 10. Now, thankfully, no new cases were reported on St. John. The community spread and close contact, these are avenues where the main driver for cases of St. Thomas, with 10 of the latest cases being attributed to community spread, 9 of close contact, and 1 travel-related call. These are very important statistics to just look at and pay close attention to. We see where community spread is essentially being the sole cause of the pandemic and the cause of that and the spread of that rather in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Of course, one of those persons who contracted the virus was Senator Kenneth Gittens, and we wish him and all the persons of the territory in the U.S. Virgin Islands the safest recovery.
Most definitely, Ron, but we are running out of time. So, of course, our viewers could get all this information on our website, but of course, you can join us tomorrow for your daily updates. I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes.
And I'm Ron Grant. See you guys.